Hey guys, so today we're going to take a look at Microsoft Teams and how to kind of go through some of its functions. One of the first things that you can do is you can actually sign up for Teams, like create Teams account. I just Googled that, and then you can go to team management software, blah, 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 blah. Or actually, the better way to do that was down here where it just says, hey, sign up for Teams for free. And then I'll kind of give you the splash page, go to Teams for free. And then you could kind of sign up here right at that spot. And then you could write in your email, like, I don't know, some guy at hotmail.com, and then just go to next. And then I'll ask you if you want to do for school, for friends, for work, etc. I do it for the school part. And then the problem is if you do it for the school part and if you try to sign up, then it's going to try to register and say, hey, that email address wasn't assigned by your school. So you need to have a school email for that to work. In terms of the ones for work or for personal use, I don't know much about. I only know this pretty much through education. And if your school isn't really using it for education, it's going to be kind of different in terms of how to set things up. So it basically has to deal with whether or not your school district is using Teams and has a license or not. So, but anyways, that's how you can kind of set it up. So we're going to go through this as if you have approval through your school. So for instance, let's say I've already signed up. It will usually have like your school email that'll let you plug in. Your school should already have it kind of ready for you. So I'm going to sign in and hopefully it'll work. Please work. All right, there we go. I think. There we go. All right, so here it already has some of my teams for me. These are various things made by the administration or how I tend to break out all of my different classes. Now, first things first, what you can do is you can hit this button up here and join or create team. So then you can just create a team, or if someone already gave you a code, you can enter that code right here. And if you guys don't always know how to do that, if you guys don't have anything here, you can always just hit this Teams button, or you can kind of search for it as well too. So let's go to create a team. So create a team. We're going to either make a class, professional learning community, staff, other. You can make a lot of different things. Here we're going to try to make a class. So let's click that. We'll make this called test class. You can describe it as however you want. Test class for school. Right? All right, next. So we're going to create that team. So then what you could do is actually plug in your students. If this is registered with your school, you would just like start typing in a name. It could be like Jose or something like that. And then it will start to kind of put in all the different names in here that would work. So it's easier sometimes if you have your students' emails. I've had to plug in each of my students one by one using their emails. Now, that's just a way that I can circumvent students not signing into it. So if I physically put in their emails versus giving them a code, I can be guaranteed that they actually have an account. Now, there are some of those students who would rather just sign in themselves, and you can give them a code and have them sign in that way. Either way is fine. So if not, you can just skip it and have them do that. Now, here we are at our test class. So what we could do here, we've got posts, files, class notebook, assignments, and grades. What you can do here is that the post is actually where you kind of do most of the things. And you can kind of just make really quick announcements saying, hey guys, I've uploaded your first assignment. So then you can hit enter, and this will actually post to everyone. And then people will be able to reply to this and say a lot of different things. People can either use text or they can attach. You can use emojis, GIFs, other things, etc., etc. They can even post videos of other things, and you can actually praise students for having the right things. Now, if you want to kind of give them files, well, there's a lot of ways you could do that as well as it loads. Okay, so let's say you want to like give them different things to look at. Let's say I said new folder or Word document or Excel or any of these things. I'd rather just give them a folder first so I can be like, hey, classroom materials, if I could spell today, materials, create. All right, this would be just a general folder that I can put like a lot of different things in. And let's say, hey, I want to put a new thing in here. Let's make a Word document, right? Enter the new name of this. I don't know. Stuff. Create. And then it will actually bring up Word for you, and then you can be like, hey, here's stuff. Here's stuff. I can't spell today. So if you want to give them something like that. Now, whoops. Now, so you can also just go back to assignments, or you can go back to your teams if you want to go back to test class. Now, here's that document. If you don't like that, you can just hit upload, and then you can grab any sort of things you have. Like, for instance, I have a bunch of different stuff. Like, let's say KC1, I want to upload this PDF of, hey, let's do a coloring page of exponents. And then it will load that up. So now students can come in here and click on this, and then they will be given their PDF assignment of, this coloring activity with all these different exponents. So that's one thing to do. Now, if you'd like to share, usually I hit Teams to kind of go back. If I try to X out, it kind of does something weird. You can copy links, download a lot of different things. If you need to, you can press the buttons to kind of either download it, delete it, pin it, rename it, move it, however you need to kind of access it. So let's go back to test class. Other things. So we have our files. If we want to do links, you can also kind of create your own link. I would just kind of usually put that in the posts. So if I'm saying like, hey guys, go to deltamath.com for this week's assignment. And you can just put links in like that. So that was just an easy way to do it. Another thing you can do is use a class notebook. This will actually connect to your OneNote. You can actually set up a OneNote by either making a brand new one, or you can get it from your existing one if you use OneNote. For instance, I already have a vast OneNote, and I can basically just add the entire content of that here. It does have some issues doing that though. It kind of like freaks out a little bit, and I haven't been able to consistently be able to access it or use OneNote on Teams, even though I've kind of asked the people from Teams for help on that. Other things you could do is you could use assignments. So for instance, hey, let's make an assignment here. Let's say that, okay, we want to create a new one. Let's make an assignment. What do we want to make it? I don't know. Let's make something fun. Like, let's say exponents, or let's give it a title like Key Concept 1A, Properties of Exponents. So then what you can do is you can add, you can enter your own instructions telling the students specifically what you want to do, and you can also add resources. So for instance, let's say I want to give the students that piece there, I would have to kind of go to my OneDrive and upload it there. Now, it doesn't let you typically, well, it does let you do that. So let's go upload from here. Let's say I want to give them that coloring page again, so that way I can open it. So this will upload it into there. So that way they can see what assignment I've uploaded. Like, hey guys, use the properties of exponents for this assignment. It is due on Wednesday. Put a date like 5/31. How many points? This one you'd have to actually kind of put in how many points. You can make it based on whatever scale you want. You can add a rubric. We typically don't use this thing, so we don't use a rubric, but you can put one in if you'd like, but we do not use that at our school. You can assign it to whichever class you want. All of them or none of them. You can just assign it to specific students as well. All of them or none of them, depending on that. You can set due dates, when it's for time. You can discard it and then just hit assign. And then all the students will be able to see that. Now you can also grade them too if you want to kind of grade anything. It'll give you notifications. If you'd like to speak to students too, your students can typically will send you messages via chat and ask you all sorts of stuff and saying like, hey, I just will complete these assignments. That way they can kind of access you constantly. What else? So if you'd like to make a quiz, we can go back to assignments. You can kind of create your own polls. Like let's say create a quiz. So it'll ask you to actually use Microsoft Forms, which is another program. It's kind of like Google Forms. So you'd have to hit your own hit new, get started, and then kind of work on it like that. So you'd actually ask you to incorporate it that way. And I haven't been able to find a better way to kind of upload quizzes or polls in that way, unfortunately. One important thing that I have noticed with Teams, though, is that you need to kind of be very, very good at like understanding this Manage Team button, because what that allows you to do is pretty much see everything that you in terms of membership and accessibility. For instance, members and guests, it kind of will show you all the people, and you can specifically go in and mute students if you have students that are a little bit unruly in your conversations. You can kind of change their status to member or owner. You can get rid of them from that. You can give them tags, titles. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'll show you in a second. Here are the pending requests, channels, settings. This is important because this way you can pick your themes. Your member permissions, what the members are able to do. Are they able to remove things? Are they able to delete things? You can give them specific permissions. And what's funny is that your team code is actually here. It's like not as accessible as I've seen in other programs, but this would be the code to assign students so that way they can get into this class. You can reset it, remove it, copy it, whatever you need to do. But I found it very weird that this is the only way to kind of access this in a very, very kind of non-intuitive way. Now, the reason why I'm saying, hey, you might need to like monitor your permissions and guest permissions, things like that, is because with Teams, you are allowed to make your own conversations. For instance, I can create a new video chat so that way all my students can join it, and I can title anything. Like I could say, hey, period 1, Monday, 5:31. So that way we can keep a running log of all these classes. And it works very much like Zoom in that regard, and students can kind of jump in and see. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to record anything, and the reason I have issues with it is that students can actually hijack your Zoom, or sorry, not your Zoom, but your Teams chat room and do various other things. It's not very good at restricting what students can do. So we've run into issues with students taking control of calls or just posting a lot of inappropriate things, and we can't really lock down their status so that way they can't do that. I had one student that kind of like made 500 messages like this in this chat, and to go back and delete all of them was kind of a gigantic hassle. So would I recommend Teams? I don't know. Teams is okay for a lot of things. I don't think it works as well in a classroom setting as other programs. From what I've heard is that Google Classroom works a lot better. But I think it's okay for those people who have it. You'll kind of figure your way through it, and then you'll make it work for your class and your desires. But all in all, I think it works okay with conjunction of other programs. And that's about it.